Hi, John. Glad you figured it out. We are waiting until 10:40 before we start. However, you can start. We are just reviewing today. If you recall from a couple weeks ago, we were doing percents and we're scheduled to just have a quiz tomorrow, really. Hold on, you're going to get some feedback here. We are waiting until 10:40. You don't need to hear it twice. Actually, if you can follow along with the attached Google Sheets in the classroom, it's just going to go through all those problems today, just as our review, and just giving me a chance to get used to the streaming and you guys getting used to it. But yeah, you can try it as your warm-up. It has been a while, so feel free to look through your notes on how to do things, but you're simply just multiplying by 100 and sticking a percent sign at the end. So if you recall, you just move decimal points. Hi, John. Good to see you. Or Jack, I guess. Your name's John coming up on the chat. But yeah, I'm glad you figured something out. We are having some issues if people are using Chromebooks at home to view this. And as the live stream process comes and unfolds and we're changing everything, I'd appreciate some feedback, whether you like what I'm doing versus what someone else is doing. Maybe I should change the way I present this. I'm not sure. Hey, Luke. This at least gives me an idea of who figured out how to view this. Yeah, well, I'm trying to make it as easy as possible, trying not to have you download any program and sign up for new accounts or anything like that. So it might take a bit getting used to. Hey, Josh, good to see you. I hope you're feeling better. Remember to practice your social distancing, guys. Stay away from people. Some of you are probably good at that. All right, it's saying mine is at 10:40. I know there's a bit of a delay in the stream here, so I am starting. You'll catch up. So tomorrow you guys have a quiz. It is going to be a quiz. It's online. It is set up through Google Forms, very similar to how you take your online note quizzes for science. And therefore you might not get the best feedback right away. I tried to put in the correct answer, and we'll see if it grades it or not, but there will be a quiz tomorrow. So I do plan on live streaming tomorrow as well. It just might not be as long as today. Today we are doing our review. So we're going to go through each type of problem that you'll see on the quiz. And if you follow along with the Google Forms that I posted, looks like that, then we're just going to go through those problems today. If you find that you know what's going on and you don't need to keep up with me, go right ahead and go moving on. However, that Google Forms, or not Google Form, the Google Doc, please put your answers in there and edit it. Everybody has their own copy of it, and that is due by the beginning of next class, so to speak, I guess. So you don't have to do it tonight. You can do it tomorrow morning if you wake up. There is a bit flexibility doing this online and everything, so we are trying our best here. Just be aware that most of this is new for all of us, and we're not exactly sure how all it's going. So hopefully you are enjoying your social distancing from people. Take the time to learn some new skills and do that kind of thing. But we'll just start going off through it. If you have questions, please type in the chat. I'll get to them when I receive the message. And this is going to be recorded and posted in the Google Classroom, as well as if you are following my actual YouTube channel, it'll be on there as well. I'm having some difficult downloading videos off of YouTube right now. I'm not sure the whole post for it, so it might not be edited that well, but it will still at least be there giving you the opportunity. So this has been up for a while now, so hopefully you've answered these. So for your quiz tomorrow, you are going to be seeing problems that are going to ask you to take the decimal and write it as a percent. So we do have notes on this from way back, and all what you really are doing here is you're going to take your decimal number, so let's start with the first one here, and you're going to multiply it by 100%. That's all there is to this, and in doing so, what that's going to do, it's going to take this decimal point and it's going to jump it 2 places towards your percent sign, and this is going to equal 34%. Hey Logan, hey Anthony, hey Addie, thanks for coming in. So again, just move it 2 places. Here, same thing, you're multiplying by 100%, which moves your decimal point once, twice, and that's just going to equal 5%. Over here, same deal, once, twice. This is going to be 0.625%. And remember, you're moving it twice, so move 2 times because percents are out of 100. So make sure you realize that's why we are doing it. Did you make a doc with these problems? Yes, Anthony, it is shared with the Google Classroom. It looks like this. So that's the screen. What you can do is you can just simply go in here and be like, oh, this is going to be equal to 34%, and things like that. With that, where's my sketchpad? Well, actually, I'm staring at this over here. There are the problems. The doc will be, yes, it's on the Classroom. It should be posted. You should be able to follow along with me. We're going to be doing sets of each of the problems And you will turn that in as your work for today. It is your review for tomorrow, and tomorrow there's going to be a quiz that's posted. It should post right at 8 o'clock as it's scheduled to do so. But again, you're just moving your decimal point 2 places, which is multiplying by 100 and adding that percent sign. And if you're going towards a percent, you move those decimal points towards where the percent sign would be, just as a little mnemonic for you. So this one here, you go once, twice. Here you need to put in the placeholder 0, and you're going to get 350%. Easy enough, right? Those are some of the easier ones. The next set, which I'm going to get rid of all this, is going from the percent to a decimal. So you're going in that direction instead. And the first one we give you is 21%. 21%. Again, you're going away from the percent this time, so if you remember, your decimal point is right here. You're going to move it 2 places away from the percent and just do what we just did in reverse. So 21% is equal to 0.21. Right? So it's just reverse of what you did before, percent to decimal. So the other ones on here was 15%. Again, 2 places away from the percent sign. Once, twice goes there. Rewrite it as a decimal, 0.15. Next one was 650%. You should note that 100% is considered 1, so 600 some percent is definitely going to be larger than 1. And that makes sense here because we are, again, doing the same thing. Your decimal point is located there. Yeah, just do it on the Google Docs because that's what you're turning in. I'm trying to make this as easy for you as possible here, so you can just edit right on the Google Docs. You might have to do some work by hand just because you might not know how to type everything in, but it's a learning experience for all of us. So again, decimal point is here. You're going to move it once, twice, and that's going to be 6.5%. You do not need that hanging 0 at the end. So again, this is a review. You have all your notes on it. It's just been a while. So last one was 0.8. If you're checking as you go, 0.8% is equal to, sorry, I went the wrong one. 2 places, once, twice, put your point in, 0.008 as your answer. So again, if you have questions as we go, just feel free to type in the chat. I'll get to it. That concludes the first 2 sets. Again, pretty easy, straightforward stuff. You've been doing it for a week. We just have a test coming up and you've missed it for the past week. So that's percent to a decimal. Getting a little more challenging, but nothing you can't handle, is going from the fraction to the decimal. And as a percent. So here we have the fraction to decimal to percent. And there are different ways to do that, whichever one you're more comfortable with. You can just set these up as, hey, this is 3/16, and you want that to equal percent. We'll press censor out of 100, and you can solve for your variable there. You can reduce the fraction first. And yeah, Logan, you're just going backwards. So here we can reduce this fraction first if you want. It makes life easier for a lot of people. 3/16 does not get reduced though, so you can't really handle that one. Number 11 you can reduce first, and that looks like might be it. So here you can solve it just using your cross products, 3 times 100 divided by 16, or you can think what times 16 equals 100, things like that, or you can just do it as the division. You can actually do 16 divided by 3 and get the decimal. Just makes that a 30, which goes once, and there are decimal points going to come straight up. 1 times 16, when you subtract, borrow it out, get 14, 16 goes into 14, bring down 0, 16 into 140 is, great, I don't know my 16 tables. It's going to go 8 times 16 is going to give you 128. Subtract, again you're going to have to borrow. Here's your 12, 20. It's going to go 7 times 16 is 112. Subtract, you're getting 8, I believe. I'm sorry. You're getting 2. Yeah, you can use a calculator. I'm not going to be checking. But you get the idea. You make it a decimal and then you move your decimal point twice. Once, twice. So any way you want to do it, the easiest would just be use a calculator and divide. So like 31 over 80 divided out, 31 divided by 80 equals 0.3875. Once you get the decimal, go to the percent, just like we did before, multiply that by 100%, and you get 38.75%. Give the next two a minute on your own. Again, the idea here is for you to practice them. Yeah, it probably keeps going. I didn't finish it, Jason, so I rounded. Jason's saying that there's a 5 at the end of that. I didn't finish the division. So good job. And then once you do that, that's going to be your 18.75%. Let's see, we had 35 over 25. First thing you should note when you see this is that 35 is larger than 25, so you should be getting a percent that's larger than 100 due to the fact that this number is larger than 1. So 35 divided by 25, you can reduce this before you do anything with it to make life easier for you, or you could just go straight to the calculator, really. So I'm going to reduce it. Do it the long way. Divide each by 5 and you get 7/5. 5 goes into 7 one time. So you do have a 1, and there are 2/5 left over. 2/5, I believe, is 4. Just double checking my math. Is 4. So you're getting 1.4 when you divide that out. And again, you're going to multiply that by 100% percent to go to the percent here. Go to the percent. So that's once, twice, and you're going to get 140%. Again, making sense because this number is larger than 1. Last one in that category is 7 over 140. Again, you can just divide that out. 7 divided by 140 gives you 0.05, which equals once, twice, 5%. Any questions on problems like that? And if you have a question, just type it in the chat and we'll get to it later. Let's see, next up we have problems that deal with these little number sentences that we covered in class a couple weeks ago. So we have, what number is 45% of 580? If you recall how this works, excuse me, if you recall how this works, I gave you a little template to plug into, which looked like percent over 100 equals is over of, and you just kind of use this as a formula to plug in what you know. A lot of times you don't get problems like this in real life because nobody words this right. They will give you some kind of context and you got to kind of reword it to fit this format. But when you do, it's pretty simple to solve. You just plug into this format and solve. First off, it's asking what number is. So that's your is number. So our format looks like a proportion. We do not know our is number. That is our unknown. And then 45 here is our percent. Percent goes on top. 100 always goes on the bottom because it is percents out of 100. That leaves you your of number. See how of is connected to 580. 580 will go here. Once you do this, you can simplify this before you solve, but again, it is cross products. You're going to be doing 45 times 850. That was a horrible circle. 45 times 850, and you're going to be doing close enough. 100 times x. So over here you have 100x, and 45 times 850. Again, if you want to use a calculator for it, go right ahead. It's going to give you 38250, and then when you divide each side by 100, this is going to cancel, leave you with x equals 38250, and divided by 100 just moves your decimal point over twice. So it's going to be there. And then that is your answer. This number, so 382.5 is 45% of 580. Solved just like that. And go ahead, you can go through a number of these on your own. Let's look at one where you're missing the next one. So let's look at 14 on here. So this was number 13 on the sheet. Let's look at 14. 14 is saying what percent? Which number did you get that for, John? 261. What percent of, sorry, 160 is 62. For 13, alright, let's put this on hold and let's look at 13 for a second. 13, we are getting 45 over 100 equals x over 580. 45 times 580 gives you that. Yeah, I must have did that multiplication wrong. 45 times 580 is actually giving me 261.00 this time. I might have still hit something wrong on the calculator. That's 100x in this case. Divide by 100, divide by 100, 261 equals x. So yeah, it looks like 261 is what it is. Yeah, John, you're going to do 580 times 45 divided by 100. That's right. I don't know. My calculator might have hit the wrong button or something. Thanks for catching that. Let's see. Don't need that anymore. Don't want that up. What percent of, what number is this? Can't read that. 160. 160 is 62. So again, you're following that format. Percent over 100 equals is over of. We do not know our percent this time. So that's our x. It's always over 100. It's asking what percent. That's how we don't know. Of 60 is 62. 62 is your part. 160 is your whole. In this case, you're doing 100 times 62, which is 6,200. And 160 times x. Divide that by 160. Get x by itself. This is going to cancel, leave you with x. And 2600 divided by 1600 is going to give you 38.75. And that is a percent. And so we got to squeeze in a percent sign here. And again, all you're going to do with these problems is it's going to jump around this little template. So make sure you pay attention to the context of things and where we're putting things. 38.75. I think that's what I got. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys, for double checking me. Appreciate that. Next one, we are jumping around. We don't have an of number here, so this is 60% of what number? Is 348. So again, same deal. Percent over 100 is over of, part over whole. I am not good at making f's with this. So 60 is your percent of what number we don't know is 348. So percent is 60 over 100 is equal to is, which is 348 over your unknown. So 60 times x gives you 60x. 100 times 348 gives you 348 with 2 zeros. And you're going to divide each by 60 to get x by itself. This is going to cancel. And x is going to equal, I can reduce that a bit first, 3480 divided by 6 gives you 580. And that makes sense, because 65%, this is a little over half of 500, so it's making sense. And half would be 50% there. So we did 13, 14, 15. You got 580 as well. Good, 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 good. What I'd ask you to do is try some on your own. I will be able to check your Google Classroom submission for what those are. I am going to skip ahead to the next set of problems though, and that is percent change. So got to remember how to do percent change here. So here we are looking at percent change. Our first problem is going to be going from 125 to, I guess already how it's written there, is increased to 210. So first off, you need to note that this is an increase. We are going up, so pay attention. Your number should be positive here. We should have a positive percent. And if you recall the little format that you were plugging that into was your new value minus your old value, all divided by your old value. And then to make that a percent, you multiply it by 100. So our new value here is equal to the 210. Our old value here is equal to the 125. And you just plug it into that little format. And let's see, new is 210 minus 125, all divided by 125, and then of course times 100%. So do your numerator first, 210 minus 125 gives you 85, divided by 125 is going to give you 0.68. Then once you get that, you just make it into a percent by here, so times 100% equals 68%. So this number, 215, or I'm sorry, 125, increased by 68% is your 210. And that's how that kind of reads out. So remember, new minus old divided by old, and then turn into a percent. Again, if you have questions on this, please type in the chat. Next one is 50 decreased to 14. So here you should be noting it is a decrease. We should be getting a negative number, a negative percent. You can either write it as a negative percent or you can write decreased by this much. But it's the same format, same thing. Formula for 9 through 20. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it did say to round to the nearest tenth of a percent. Yeah, you can round to the nearest tenth of a percent, Logan. Go for it. If you don't want to, you don't really have to. I'm not too concerned with rounding right now. Formula for 9 through 20. So 9 through 20 was percent over 100 equals is over of. This is for 9 through 20. So this is off to the side somewhere. Not dealing with that right now, but that is for 9 through 20. Your percent change is a decrease here, so keep that in mind. Your new value, just pulling it out, is the 14, which you will note is less than your old value, which is 15, or 50, sorry. So they are kind of reversed in this case because your new value is smaller. But when you do that, it makes sense because your new value should be first and therefore giving you that negative number and multiply it by 100%. So 14 minus 50 gives you that negative 36, and that divided by 50 is going to 36 divided by 50 give you that negative 0.72. Don't forget to multiply that by 100 to make it a percent, and you're going to get negative 72%. Or you could say it is a decrease of 72%. You got negative 74. Did I do that wrong? Negative 36 divided by 50. I'm still getting negative 7.2. Double check what you typed in there. But yeah, these are both acceptable answers. I am not good at circling things. Those are both acceptable answers. All right. All right, Jack. Good job. Figured it out. Should really turn the steam off. Let's see. Next one is also an increase. We're going to take 45 increased to 180. So you should note it's going up again. Your new value is 180. Old value is 45. Divide by your old value. Multiply that by 100%. 180 minus 45 divided by 45 gives you 3. So 180 minus 45 gave you something. I actually divided it by 45 already. So you should be getting 3 times 100%, which equals 300%. So that is a 300% increase, which makes sense because this is more than doubling. right? A 100% increase would be 95. A 200% increase would be, what was it, 95 plus 45, or I'm sorry, 90 is a 100% increase plus 95, or again, another 45, sorry, I can't talk right now, is 135, and so on. So that is making sense. All right, moving on. Let's look at some of the word problems here. This word problem is Miss Rogers. So let's look at number 24. And you can follow along with 24 if you need to. 24. Miss Rogers sold 49 out of 48 crafts at the crafts fair, and we want to know what percent of her crafts she sold. So looking at the problem, we know that she sold, just copying information, 49 out of 75 crafts. And we want to know what percent is this. So just as I sit here and reword it, we're going to turn it into one of those is over of problems. So we do have the fraction here, the ratio you can pull out right here. You'll note that of 75 is actually written there. So our first fraction, again, following this format, percent over 100 equals is over of. Our percent is unknown. It is literally asking what percent. So that's our variable. Is going to be the part, which is 49. Of is 78. Now the other way to look at this is to just pick out the ratio right at the front. And you know, hey, this is 49 out of 70. Out of 78, divide that out. 49 divided by 78 gives you 0.628, blah, 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 blah. I'm just going to round it to that. I don't know if I told you, maybe the nearest tenth, and then make that a decimal, which you move this over once, twice, or make that a percent, sorry, and you're going to get 62.8%. But if you followed this method, you're going to be doing 100 times 49, and x times 78. Divide this by 78, divide that by 78. 4900 divided by 78 is going to get you that, oh yeah, it's going to get you the same answer there. Again, this is going to cancel, and you're going to be left with 62.8% equals x. Oh, hey James, I guess you figured that out. Yeah, if you have questions, go ahead and ask. We still got some time. That includes with science. If you have any questions about science, go right ahead. Your science due date for the chapter is the end of the week, so be working on that. Not much I can do to push that back. I'm sorry you lost a week. Some of you were doing some work over that week, but grades are due and I can't push that back any further. So you lost a week, but the grades were still happening. I'm going to leave you to do the rest of them on your own, unless you have some questions on any specific ones right now. I will be on the chat for another 5 minutes unless you still need me longer than that. But you do have a quiz tomorrow. It will be unlocked. It is set up for Google Forms, so very similar to your online quizzes for science. Just kind of type in your answer there and go. The tests are on Google Classroom for Science. I think I posted all of them, and I think even the ones that people have been behind on got posted there. And yeah, let's try to get it all due for science on Friday. Unfortunately, I can't push that date any longer. I need the grades in for the 9 weeks. At the end of the due date, meaning on Friday, you can show me it? Yeah, you can show me stuff on Friday. I plan on taking the weekend to update grades on everything, and I believe report cards are due for me, I think Thursday is when all my paperwork has to be in and done for report cards. So I'm hoping by the end of the weekend I have everything straightened up. That gives you Monday to ask questions about your grades if you are missing something or in concern maybe I lost something, things like that. Clear up a little few clerical things there, and gives me that time to get it together. I would like you to do the review for homework, which is the Google Sheets that we were just working on. I'm just going to look at it to see if you did it. Let's see, for key terms and section assessments, you emailed me instead of Google. I have them, Jason. I know I have them. I've seen them, and thank you. Did you see my work, Luke? I'm pretty sure I know you've done it. I'm pretty sure you've shown me in class, just because you always have. But if you can, try to take a picture of it and send it through email. It would be appreciated, just to get you practice using the technology too. You're welcome, John. Let's see, any other questions for you? Oh, you're welcome, Logan. This live stream is recorded, so it will be posted. Unfortunately, I'm not sure how to edit it very well, so you probably will have to sit there through the little timestamp saying, hey, this is going to start at 10:40 or whatever. But yeah, if there's nothing else, feel free to move on to your next thing. I'm not sure if I posted a discussion in the classroom, but you should answer that. If I did, I think I might not have your first day. But for discussions and stuff in math, if you could just make sure they're all done by Friday, that would be awesome. That way it gives you time to respond to other people and things like that. All right. If you have further questions after we're done here, feel free to use the email. I will try to get back to you in a timely manner. Hopefully your other classes are going well. Hopefully this makes sense to you. But yeah, please just be patient on things. We are testing them out as we go. So with that, if there are no other questions, I'm probably going to sign off, and I'll be back on tomorrow at the same time. Are we coming back Monday to school? No, you are out until we tell you otherwise. Just looking around the area and other school districts might give you an idea, but I know Pine Richland Area School District is closed until the end of April, I believe. So just be paying attention to things. This is probably going to be happening like this for quite some time. So again, if you guys have feedback or something for me, things that work, things that aren't working, let me know. Yep, Patty. Go back to Corona time. Hopefully you're practicing your self-isolation, your social distancing. All right, I'm ending it.